Hello, students and staff of Mammoth Heights Elementary. My name is Mr. Holtvluwer. You know me as Mr. H. Today is Friday, April 4, 2025, and this is Good Morning, Mammoth Heights. All right, well, let's begin our morning with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise and recite the pledge with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. All right, well, boys and girls, let's check out what we have on our lunch menu for today. Today, you get to choose between the Carnitas Quesadilla or the Build Your Own Sun Butter Sandwich. Now, let's move on to our Mammoth Heights Positive Ambassador Matrix. All week long, we've been focusing on the behavior expectations for our students during the hallways and how we behave in the hallways. Well, you can transform negativity in our hallways, and today is a very fun day. It's the end of our Shap Wish Week. It's Friday, so we can smile and be courteous to people you meet in the hallway. You never know if a little smile will help turn around someone's negative day. So help transform negativity today, throughout the school year, and of course throughout the rest of your life, whether that's in the hallway or just wherever you are in the world. All right, now let's move on to our birthdays. No birthdays today, but we do have some birthdays happening over the weekend. Happy birthday over the weekend to Luna Poe, Adeline Wilson, Sebastian Urishin, Alexander Usuri, Grace Spera, Saber Detoli, and Rebecca Hosner. If I called your name, you can come on down to the office and get a happy birthday pencil at this time. But make sure you get your teacher's permission first. For our announcements, thanks to all the donations, as we are going to see a lot of teachers around campus who are tattooed today as part of our fundraising for Shap Wish Week. The Wish Week Festival and 5K is tomorrow. And congratulations to the students in the Young Doctors program. They will be graduating today. And our student council will represent Mammoth Heights Elementary today at the closing ceremonies for Shap Wish Week. We're excited to bring a lot of money, over $3,500, $3,500, if not a little bit more, as we continue to count throughout the rest of this morning before we bring it out so we can create joy for Carter. And a lot of that money was raised because of the raffle prizes. You're probably wondering who won each raffle prize that was on display near our story steps throughout this Shap Wish Week. Well, let's roll the clip. All right, well, here we go. Thank you, Mr. H. We are going to announce all the raffle prize winners from our Shap Wish Week fundraiser as we create joy for Carter and make his wishes come true. We are so excited to bring that check over to Chaparral this afternoon. All right, we drew the names. Here are all the winners, so pay close attention. Principal for an hour, Noah Schultz in Miss Cole's class. Special guest on Good Morning Mammoth Heights, Mateo Valdez in Miss Morris's class. Pull the fire alarm, Graham McPeak, Miss Cole's class. Assistant principal for an hour, Addie Ledbetter in Miss Fazio's class. Slushies and chalk art for you and a friend with Miss Betchart, Danica Lamers in Miss Hall's class. And pizza with Miss Bratstrom, Eliza Halbert in Miss Nelson's class. Pizza with your teacher, Miss Kirkpatrick, and Eli Kirkpatrick won that one in Mr. Soldier's class. Pizza with your teacher for Mrs. Brown, Hayden Burkhart, Mrs. Brown's class. And pizza with your teacher with Miss Coles, Harper Foreman in Mr. Soldier's class. Donuts and juice with your teacher with Mrs. Morris. Congratulations to Calvin Gordon. Donuts and juice with your teacher for you and a friend with Miss Fazio, Sydney Barrett in Miss Schofield's class. Donuts with juice and your teacher in second grade for Miss Shashut's class, Wallace Guyon in Miss Shashut's class. Fun lunch and drinks followed by face painting for you and a friend with Miss Anderson and Miss Kinsey Ava Holtvluwer in Miss Sobsack's class. Ice cream treat for you and 3 friends after school with Miss Sterling, Stella Mabry in Miss Palillo's class. Pizza lunch with your 4 teachers, your 4th, 6th grade teachers. We have 4 winners: Kate Sheets, Cameron Wingard, Lakin Segura, and Blake Sargent. And a sports basket that's sponsored by Miss Schofield, Lyle Fangman in Miss Bratstrom's class. And Starbucks gift card sponsored by Miss McManus, Eliana Slade in Mr. Soldier's class. Breakfast with Mrs. Bergen for you and a friend, Charlotte Trent in Miss Kuntz class. Breakfast with Miss Olga and a friend, Aiden Wynn in Mrs. Bergen's class. Chick-fil-A breakfast with Mrs. Janes and Mrs. Platt for you and a friend, Zoe Cresswell in Miss Kuntz class. And in Miss Kuntz, breakfast with Miss Kuntz, Alex Franklin in Mrs. Shishud's class. Breakfast with Mrs. Ruby, Paxton Miller in Mrs. Kirkpatrick's class. And breakfast with Miss Palillo, Kylie Felderman in Mrs. Palillo's class. Pizza lunch with Miss Knight, Valentina in Miss Shishud's class. Breakfast before school with Miss Spera, Ryden Clark in Miss Spera's class. And breakfast before school with your teacher, Mrs. Morton, Braxton Conrads in Mrs. Hall's class. Dodgeball before school with as many friends as you would like to invite with Mr. Brown. Congratulations to Case Bateman in Miss Shishud's class. Make a glitter jar with Miss Weiss and 2 of your friends. Congratulations to Michael Gomez in Miss Palillo's class and Kylia Martin in Miss Kornfeld's class. And breakfast with 3 friends with Miss Seeger and Miss Iceberg, Chase Holtvluwer in Miss Cole's class. Breakfast with Mrs. Van Dyke, Jovi Watt in Mr. Burley's class. Morning Starbucks for you and a friend with Miss Detmer, Iris Dulive in Miss Fazio's class. Painting and popcorn with Miss Castro Giovanni with you and a friend after school, Eliana Krager in Miss Fazio's class. And henna, tea, and cookies with you and 3 friends with Miss Lippy, Grace Spera in Mrs. Graham's class. Dutch Brothers and donuts for you and a friend with Miss Courtney, Crosby Block in Mrs. Anderson's class. Lunch and games. We got 2 winners, and you can each bring a friend with Miss Pfeiffer and Miss Holbrook, Peter Tong in Miss Kornfeld's class. And our candy basket sponsored by Miss McManus. One of them goes to Colton Cayley in Miss Kornfeld's class. And the final candy basket sponsored by Miss McManus goes to Taylor Wingard and Mrs. Anderson's class. That was a lot of winners. That was a lot of money raised. If you didn't win, just know all that money is getting donated right to the Shap Wish Week Foundation. That goes to making wishes come true for our very own Carter. So boys and girls, thank you so much for participating. I think this was a huge success this year. We'll plan on doing it again next year. So if you didn't win, save up those dollars for next time. All right, well, boys and girls, we'll put this on the morning show. We'll put this in the newsletter so you can remember who won. And you can rewatch the morning show. But for now, let's go back to Mr. H. All right, thank you, Mr. H. And that concludes our show for today. I hope you all continue to be a positive ambassador for Mammoth Heights Elementary, exhibit leadership through our Energy Bus principles, and develop a love of learning each and every day. And remember to dream, strive, become, because that's the Mammoth way. All right, well, boys and girls, how you feeling on this Friday? Because I feel great. Yes. And I know Carter feels great today, too. Have a great weekend. Hope to see you around. Bye.